the Jacob Javits Center here in New York City for the 4th annual Mixed Martial Arts World Expo. MMA is the fastest growing sport in America, so let's take a walk around and check it out.
Save Olympic wrestling! Save Olympic wrestling, everyone!
100 years ago, when professional wrestling was more or less legitimate, it operated under the rules of catch wrestling. Today, there's an international revival to try to get wrestling once again back to its original form. Catch wrestling.
To the United States, in New York City, is at 155 pounds. Who wrestled at J.P. Stevens in New Jersey, Mario Perricone. Let's hear it for Mario. And his opponent from the great state of New York, who wrestled at Potsdam High School, Phil Doig. Remember, 2 out of 3 falls, you could only win by pin or submission. Let's go wrestle.
For those that have seen jiu-jitsu and no-gi grappling, this is different because one of the things that people dislike about those, and MMA as well, is people just jumping guard, lying in the guard. Since you have pin or submission here, you go to the guard here, you're more than likely going to pin yourself, so it's not a position that you want to be in.
Exactly right. Yeah, it's like we said, it's positional control. It's all about being on top control if we can. You know, it's if you're full guard, you pin yourself, you just cost yourself the match. So we definitely emphasize a lot of escapes from our back, maintaining that aggressive top control and chain submissions. It's not just waiting for one submission to happen. We'll force a submission to happen by changing position, grinding different pain compliance movements to make people move, and we'll go from one submission to the next, and we'll just chain them all together. Inverted heel hook. Phil, by inverted heel hook. 1 minute, guys. 1 minute break.
The winner, Phil Doig. Remember, it's 2 out of 3 falls, and you can win by pin or submission, so the match is not over yet as they come back from a short break.
It's a lot more exciting, high-paced movement.
It's a different mentality. You're not going to see our guys go out there and pull guard. You're going to look at guys, instead of waiting for you to make a mistake, we're hunting. And we're always hunting for that leg or limb or neck to be hanging out there. It's not, I don't care if you make a mistake or not, eventually I'm going to find something. It's the biggest difference. And we're constantly hunting. It's no defense. It's constantly attacking, attacking, attacking.
This style of wrestling used to fill up the biggest arenas. In New York, an earlier incarnation of Madison Square Garden was filled up for the Caddick and Stecker match, and actually a video of a newsreel film of that match still survives today, although a lot of frames are missing, and if you've seen it, it's very scratchy, but you can see enough of it to get an idea of the style. So if you want to go online, you can see it. I think it's on YouTube or whatever. Joe Stecker, S-T-E-C-H-E-R, and Earl Caddick, who was then the champion. And one was in the Army and one had been in the Navy, and the color guards escorted them to the ring of sold-out MSG, again the old one. And you could see this style, and you could find Jake Shannon has run tournaments. Today, these are much smaller tournaments. You could find documentaries on the original Snake Pit in Wigan, England. You could look up Billy Riley. You could look up Roy Wood, who still coaches both freestyle wrestling and catch wrestling. Billy Robinson is still involved in this, and there's a lot of information.
with a toe hold in the second floor and 2-4 to none, Phil Doig. He won by 2 submissions. You're going to give him a hooker award, not the kind of hookers we used to see in 42nd Street, but the wrestling term for a hooker.
Guys, can we get all the competitors together?
That's it. Those are the 3 matches today. We want to thank you for watching. Catch is Catch King Wrestling.
2 falls, 2 wins, 2 submissions. Congratulations, Phil. Tell us about this match.
Well, it's nice to be able to do catch wrestling. Train it a lot, and usually I go to jiu-jitsu tournaments and stuff like that. It's nice to incorporate the submissions with the pins and everything, and had some nice wrestling scrambles.
One of the criticisms a lot of people of jiu-jitsu, although it's changing a little bit, is that they're not very good on the leg locks, and you won by heel hook and toe hold, both of your falls by that. Tell us about that, and you know, when you compete in jiu-jitsu tournaments, how adept are your opponents at those various leg locks?
Well, the thing with, not to pick on jiu-jitsu guys, but they just don't train them as much as we do. So I will get more people with those. Another thing with the pins, it actually opens up a lot more leg locks when you're doing catch wrestling.
You were going back and forth in your match, trying for both. And tell us about the transitions, especially the second one. The toe hold seemed to come pretty quickly.
Right. He, my opponent was going for a knee bar on me, and when he did, his foot was right in the crease of my hip, which is perfect for a toe hold, and it's something I've drilled thousands of times.
Tell us about your background and how you got into catch wrestling, because again, the revival of catch wrestling is relatively new in this country.
Well, I wrestled in high school, ended up going to the States in high school, but I didn't end up wrestling in college, so I started getting into MMA. I moved to New Jersey about 6 years ago and started training with John Potenza.
Where did you move from?
Potsdam, New York, and started training.
A lot of good wrestling, a lot of good high school wrestling, I would say.
Yeah, it's decent wrestling up there. But I started training catch wrestling as soon as I moved down to Jersey, so I've been training catch wrestling for about 6 years.
And what attracted you to catch wrestling?
It seems more aggressive than other stuff. A lot of the aspect of wrestling with the fast pace and the scrambles and the aggressiveness kind of gets taken away when you're doing submissions, but not so much with the catch wrestling style.
From what do you think is the potential of this sport as making a revival as a spectator sport way down the line?
I think it could come back, but I think what you'll see more is more people in MMA or regular grappling incorporating catch wrestling into their training. I know it helps me a lot.
Now, you've done these other styles. How prepared are people in these sports for, particularly, we didn't see today the double wrist locks, because I think, John was saying that both wrestlers were pretty much, aware of that, and so that kind of neutralized each other. But you don't see that as much in MMA. Jiu-jitsu has other names for it, but it's not exactly the same as a double wrist lock. How do you think that the more catch wrestling moves would work in these sports?
Well, I train at a jiu-jitsu school as well to work guard stuff and stuff like that, and a key difference is we're more aggressive with the same submissions, like the Kimura, the double wrist lock. If I'm doing the double wrist lock, it's a lot more snappier and a lot more aggressive than, say, a jiu-jitsu stylist.
Thank you very much, and remember, it's all real, and it's real wrestling.
Catch wrestling.